for taking time out with PSOA. Sean Johnston here from Omaha, Nebraska. As we have brought in the new year, there's no better place to start the 2024 part of the basketball season back to the fundamentals. We're going to take our training tape this week over the 7 common fouls. These in Federation high school basketball, in youth basketball, in middle school basketball, should be the only 7 common fouls that we call as officials. The purpose of this training tape is to simplify processing of calls as an official. Fans listen to this, coaches listen to this, you might ask, man, how did that official miss that call? There's actually a lot of mental processes that go into not only the judgment, but then blowing the whistle and then communicating what the players did. So this training video, simplify that process. Next one, educate everybody. What is a foul? What is the 7 common fouls? So we have consistent communication. People want consistency. We're never going to have consistency on judgment, but we can have consistency how we communicate what the players did. Model what to do after a foul, and then share drills that we officials can do to become better communicators when fouls happen, so people are not confused, and whether they agree with us or not, at least they understand our voice, our opinion, our judgment. So the challenging part of foul calling and call accuracy is every game is different. Just like coaches change full court press, soft press, zone, 2-3 zone, 1-3-1 zone, 3-2 zone, box and 1, box and 2, man-to-man. All right. We as officials, we have to adjust as well. There's some games where we have to call a lot so the game doesn't get out of control. There's other games where the players, they're just able to take on a lot of contact. All right. And we don't have to take the game away from them because they're playing through the contact. All right. As we feel out each game, we need to mix and match the art of what is a foul by rule book, black and white, and the science. What needs to be called in this situation? All right, matching the art and science of rule book, intent of the rule book, and application of the rule book is very, very important. So we're going to start with incidental contact. This is by far, I will say, my most exciting favorite rule in the rule book. And it's so unknown by our group of officials. Definitely players, because the players learn the most from coaches. So if the coaches don't know the rule, they can't teach the rule. And absolutely spectators. All right, so rule book, NFHS, rule 427. This is a real rule. I promise you, and I challenge you to look it up. It reads, opponents are in equally favorable position after contact. We have incidental contact. So what we hear a lot, man, there's a lot of contact there. Yes, there is. I agree with you, coach. But after that contact, both opponents were in equally favorable position. So by rule, we're not even talking about judgment yet. By rule, it's incidental contact. Another part of the rule, contact that does not hinder the opponent from making normal basketball movement. Again, man, there's a lot of contact there. Yeah, you're right, 23, but you were dribbling the basketball and you continue to dribble the basketball. You wanted to go up for a dunk and you were able to finish that dunk. Right? It did not hinder you from doing what you were wanting to do as a normal basketball movement of dribbling, of passing, of shooting, of maintaining legal guarding position. And the last one, players being screened outside the vision of the legal screen, and there is not enough time or distance to avoid the contact by the person who is being blindsided screened. Even if severe, this is not a foul. So think about a full court pass, and the offense is able to run the end line. There's a play where the offense comes up, sets a legal screen, and the person on the ball, they're just so focused on the ball. They run right through that screener. Didn't do it on purpose, didn't see the screener there. Does he displace them or does she displace them? Yes. And it's severe, yes. But there wasn't enough time and distance. The screener did nothing wrong. The defender did nothing wrong. There is no foul. By rule, it's incidental contact. All right, so officials, it's okay to, when a coach or player says, why was that not a foul? You can say, by rule, it was incidental contact, because in my judgment, after the contact, it did not hinder normal basketball movement. It did not put either player at an unequal favorable position. And though it was severe, neither player did anything wrong. Both players did exactly what they were coached to do. And I understand why there was contact. And it just so happened those players met at the same spot at the same time legally, and the play will continue. Now we're going to get into the illegal contact. All right, so first off, there's only 7 common personal fouls. This is the chart of the signals we should be using. If you are using signals to communicate fouls outside of this chart, we are not being consistent. Be consistent, stay with these signals. Block, 2 hands on hips. Charge, 1 hand behind the head. And it should be the same hand that you raise your fist with. So if you're a right-hander, raise your right arm high in the air with the right closed fist, then put your right hand behind your head, and then point the direction with your right hand, the direction it's going to go. Elbow, you just have your elbow up outwards and go horizontal to the ground. Important to have that elbow up horizontal, because that's showing that's the action the player did illegal. Because if it was vertical to the ground, that's not an elbow. It's the horizontal action that makes it a foul. Hand check, 1 hand out in front of your body with the other hand holding your wrist. Holding, just like we see in football, 1 fist at your shoulder, the other arm pulling it down. Illegal use of hands is like a karate chop. All right, so whether it's a closed fist or open hand, you are karate chopping 1 arm. And then a push is from your chest out forwards. You are showing a pushing motion. And notice, and we will go over this in each of the foul, of different examples and categories of these 7 common fouls. So what makes a foul a foul? Again, in basketball, you have 10 moving bodies. You are going to have contact. You're going to have a lot of contact. But we are only calling personal fouls on illegal contact, which hinders normal basketball movements. So what are normal basketball movements? It's normal to dribble. It's normal to cut. It's normal to shoot. It's normal to complete a layup and dunk. It's normal to pass. Normal to run, freedom of movement. It's normal to screen. It's normal to legally guard 2 feet on the ground facing the opponent. So as I am officiating, my goal is I don't want to blow the whistle at the time of the contact. I am waiting till I see the absolute full result of the reaction of the final ending situation after the contact is complete. Did that contact actually hinder a normal movement. Next rule, legal guarding position. Coaches, as players come back 2024, if there is one rule that the defenders should really understand, it's how do I get legal guarding position? All right, so number one, there is no minimum distance required with the opponent with the ball. All right, in Federation, there is no cylinder play. Though, I from a coach's standpoint, back in the day, all right, the closer I am to a ball handler, the easier it is for that ball handler to get by me. So I would keep some distance so you can move legally, laterally, obliquely, and backwards as this picture is showing. The maximum distance for closely guarded, not legally guarding, but closely guarded, is 6 feet from foot to foot. Defender's foot to ball handler's foot. You do not have to be within 6 feet to have legal guarding position. Actually, there's no maximum distance to attain legal guarding position. All it says is inbounds, 2 feet on the ground, facing the opponent. So if you're playing on a 94-foot basketball court, guess what? You can have legal guarding position 94 feet away from your opponent that has the ball. After attaining this legal position, you see these blue arrows in the picture. A player can jump straight up. They could jump to the side. So the 2 feet don't have to stay on the ground the whole entire time when they are doing defensive slides. They could continue to not face the opponent, right? As in, that's the lateral movement. They could turn obliquely. They could duck and absorb contact because they don't want to get hit in the chest, in the lower region, or in the face. And they can raise their hands vertical. Now, when a player does not have the ball, time and distance is required with the opponent without the ball. So this is the freedom of movement. So the offense is cutting through the lane. That defense has to allow the offense 2 strides to avoid that contact. They can't just get in there within 1 stride, boom, collision. That is illegal guarding position. Without the ball, you have to give that opponent at least 2 strides to gain and have legal guarding position. All right, so very important rule to understand: what is legal and illegal, what can the defense and defense not do. Coaches do ask us a lot, what does my defender have to do? And my typical reaction is they have to maintain legal guarding position, and they cannot go forward to create the contact as this picture diagram is showing. First common foul, block. All right, illegal personal contact in which impedes the progress of an opponent with or without the ball. All right, so we're going to talk about that at the end of telling stories. You know, a lot of times I'm not just going to come out, blow my whistle, have my 2 hands, go to my hips, and yell block. I'm going to try to educate the players, and coach of what they did to impede progress of the opponent illegally. The biggest one we see is the defense moving forward into the ball handler. Yes, they have 2 feet on the ground. Yes, they're facing the opponent. But when they did their defensive slide, it wasn't on an arc away from the defender or ball handler. It was actually a chest bump forward, a hip flex forward, a jab step forward as a defender. The defense cannot move forward when they are legally guarding the opponent that has the ball. Now let's take a look at offensive fouls. Moving while screening, that's using the body to impede the progress of the defender of guarding. A legal screen, you have to be within the body frame and you have to be set. So if you are moving and you're outside your body frame, so your knees are wider than your shoulders, you now have judgment of the official. Did that impede normal basketball movement? And if the answer is yes, we have a whistle, and we have a blocking foul. Sliding under an airborne shooter. We have a training tape from the past that we're going to put in under the comments of this tape to go back to the block charge. There's 2 types of block charge: airborne shooter, ball handler. When that shooter is now a shooter, that defense can't move. They have to get to that spot clearly before that player becomes a shooter. If they're still moving as that shooter becomes a shooter, it's going to be a block. It's a safety concern. You got to allow the offensive shooter a place to land. And then not having legal guarding position, then contacting the ball handler. There's times where that defense never got in front, never got the chest facing forward, all right, and they're just on the side of that ball handler. That's not legal guarding position. If you're coming from behind help side, you never got your chest in front of the ball handler. That's not legal guarding position. Even if the offense goes into you, since you did not have legal guarding position, the foul is on the defense. So why was that a foul, Sean? The defender never had and attained legal guarding position. The result is block. Second common foul, charge. Illegal personal contact caused by going through the opponent's torso. All right, so we don't have the head and shoulder pass here. All right, we have the defense legal guarding position. It is the offense initiating the contact. All right, it is the offensive player's responsibility to stop or change direction. If they don't stop or change direction to avoid contact and they get hit, then that defender gets hit in the torso, while defensive sliding or not, it is a charge on the offense. To avoid a charge, the ball handler must get their head and shoulder past the torso, because that now shows the officials they tried to stop, change direction to avoid contact. Exception: if there's less than 3 feet between the defender, so that could be division line, sideline, baseline, end line, all right? As so long as if that defender is legal, 2 feet on the ground facing the opponent, moving laterally, obliquely, vertically, and not forward into that defender, the onus of that contact is on the offense. So a lot of times it can be incidental and nothing, because at the end of it, the offense lost possession of the ball and the defensive team's going to get the ball. And it's within 3 feet, and the offense is responsible for that contact. The player with the ball shall not push through the torso of the defender to gain an advantage. So this is the push-off. Now, you might have contact. You might have an arm bar, but not extended. You might have a lower of the shoulder, but it doesn't go through the torso. It just contacts the torso. It creates a little room. It does not displace. Creating a little room is legal. Now, if creating space to get off a pass, to get off a shot, to dribble around the opponent, so now that's displacing the defense, and that defender is not allowed to continue to legally defend, now we have an advantage. Now we have a charge. All right, so a lot of times people yell, push off. Yeah, but after the push off, I agree, the dribbler went backwards, and that 5-second count is still active. I don't have a charge. It's incidental contact. After the contact, both players are at an equally favorable position. Elbow. All right, this is where elbows are more or less horizontally, and it's an illegal position to have your elbows. All right. When those elbows, when they're in more of a horizontal position, so it is now above the ground horizontally, the elbows are not facing downwards, they are now facing outwards. If they swing and contact the opponent, this is a foul on the player with the ball. This is where it happens a lot. Rebounds. You have 3 legal defenders, 2 feet on the ground, facing the opponent, standing still, just trying to make it difficult to dribble through the 3-person trap or pass through the 3-person trap. and they freak out. They're squiggling, they're turning, they're pivoting with their elbows up. Boop. Foul. Common foul. The defense did nothing wrong. They have a right to stand on the basketball court. The offense cannot swing their elbows to say, get off me, get out of my way. Coaches, they can pivot. Pivot with the elbows down towards the ground. They can step through a legal trap. Just understand, stepping through that legal trap, the onus is on the offense. The defense has the right to legally stand there and trap as so long as they are not moving forward into the ball handler. So elbows down, and when pivoting on legal defenders, it is the responsibility of the offense to take on that contact. Hand check. We hear this all the time. Automatics, automatics, automatics. It is an automatic foul, as so long as that ball handler, all right, is actively doing a normal basketball move. All right. So hand check, placing two hands on the ball handler. And when we say on the ball handler, so this is a dribbler going to the basket. Two hands, automatic. Post player does a spin move. Two hands on that post player now. That's a normal basketball move, automatic. If that player is literally just standing there, holding the basketball, doing no normal basketball movement, they are just standing there. If two hands are on, I'm going to use preventive officiating. Hands. Boom, off. Because they didn't prevent a normal basketball movement. But dribbling towards the basket, post move towards the basket, two hands on, automatic, hand check. Placing an extended arm bar on the ball handler. Arm bar by the defense is legal. They could protect that dribbler from getting close to the defender's body. That defender cannot extend the arm bar towards the ball handler. That is what makes it a foul. Placing and keeping a hand on the ball handler. All right. Again, when it's just one hand, not two hands, when it's on one hand on a player doing a normal basketball move, I am using my voice as an official. Hands, hands. And then they show two hands. And coaches will even hear me say hands, and they will tell their players, show hands. When you show hands and we see two hands as an official, we can't call hand check. So to avoid all judgment, the whole entire playing defense, show your hands. It doesn't have to be out wide to your side. You could jab at the basketball. You could go upwards at the basketball. All right, you just can't place your hand, keep it there, extend your arm bar, or place two hands on an opponent with the ball that is doing normal basketball moves such as passing, shooting, dribbling. The one not seen a lot is the hot stove. All right, if you're doing the hot stove and the defense does it more than once, we have a foul. And here's the reason why. Somebody puts their hands on you, all right, you're going to say, please stop. They keep on putting your hands on you. Now we get a slap. And what did the crowd see? They just saw the ball handler slap the defense. How could slapping be legal? Well, that's why this rule's in place. One hand on, hands. Put it on again, boop. We avoid that slapping action. We get to control the environment of the game. Because now the coaches and fans don't see the slap and they don't go irate. All right, so officials prevent this. When the hands get near the ball handler, just say hands. Coaches, when you see your players practicing and they're getting handsy in practice, take a moment, teach the players hands off, show the hands so the officials don't call a hand check. Illegal use of hands. All right, using hands, arms, hips, shoulders to force through a screen. All right, so this isn't a pushing action. This is a ripping action, a forceful down action, a swim move action. All right, we can't use hands and arms to move a screener or to get through a screen. Using hands, arms to inhibit the freedom of movement, the movement of a cutter, the movement of a shot, the movement of a ball handler, quickness, balance, speed, rhythm. If I use my hand to turn the shooter, boom, illegal use of hands. If I use my hands or arms to hit the forearm, boom, illegal use of hands. If I use my hands to slow down or change direction of where that ball handler's trying to go, boom, illegal use of hands. All right. It is legal for me to reach, but if I reach and I hit the hip, if I reach and then my shoulder hits their torso as a defender, now we have an illegal use of hands. Extending hands or arms outside of verticality so that the freedom of movement and opponent is hindered when the contact with the arms occurs. So if I start vertical, offense comes into me, my arms come down, that is not a foul. If I start non-vertical, so my arms are already in front of my head, once that contact happens, again, I'm not calling the foul when the contact happens. I'm calling the foul, did my arms that were forward in front of my head impede a pass, impede a shot? That's when I'm calling a foul. If I have one arm coming down on a block shot, all right, I now have to judge that arm coming down on a block shot like a volleyball attack. Did it hit their forearm? Did it hit their elbow? Did it hit their head? Did it impede the shot? Because a lot of times it hits their hand. Contact on the hand to block a shot while that ball is in contact with the hand is not a foul. I'll ask players that show upsetness that they were just fouled, and I'll be like, oh, where'd you get hit? Oh, I got hit in the hand. I had you hit in the hand as well. But when that ball's in contact with the hand and it's a legitimate attempt to block the shot, it is not illegal to use the hand while blocking the shot when the ball is in the opponent's hand. The illegal use of hands is head, hip, while reaching, the shoulder or arm hits the body, or I hit the dribbler's forearm. Now we have illegal use of hands. Holding. Illegal contact with an opponent that interferes with the opponent's freedom of movement. Right? They are free to move anywhere on the court. They aren't allowed to take your spot on the court, but they're able to move around you. So you can't grab their jersey, you can't grab their arm, you can't grab their hip, and you can't do the two-hand grab. Right? You can't do an arm hook on rebounds. That is holding. So officials, on a free throw rebound, if you see somebody use their arm to hook, all right, call that holding as fast as you can. All right, that's going to lead to injury or rough play. You cannot use your arm to hook. You can't hook around a hip, all right? And you obviously can't two-hand grab a cutter, and you can't grab a jersey while somebody is dribbling by you with or without the ball. Pushing. Displacing an opponent from a position on the playing floor to gain an advantage. All right? Where we see it the most is rebounding and post play. A post player wants to start near the lane line. Then all of a sudden, the defense is displacing that post player to be 3 feet away from the lane line. That is a foul. Rebounding. Well, my coach told me to box my opponent out to the wall. That's illegal. Rebounding is this: preventing my opponent from getting around me. I have my spot on the court. I can move laterally, vertically, horizontally, obliquely to stay in front of my opponent. I am boxing them out legally because I'm not going forward into my opponent. I am moving all those directions I can to avoid my opponent from getting a rebound. Once I go backwards and displace them on the basketball court and farther away from the hoop, you are at risk of being called for a pushing foul. So coaches ask, Sean, what do I teach my players? Post, front the post, have help side defense. You can't take them away from the lane line if the offense legally got to that spot first. Rebounding, move vertically, horizontally, obliquely. Do not teach your players to rebound and shove them to the wall, because that is illegal. Now that we understand what is a foul, what are the 7 fouls that we're going to call, all right, now the next important part, is communication on what the player did, and you always have to, when we are doing this communication, we are communicating for the blind and the deaf. And we do that because not everybody in the gym saw what you saw. They were blinded by your judgment. So give a signal so they know which 7 of the common fouls the player did. Everybody can be deaf. It's so loud in the gym, we can't hear the voice. All right? We have to be able to voice and signal what the player did. All right? So raise the arm, close fist, everybody knows it's a foul. Use these 7 approved signals. Only the 7 approved signals, so we know block, charge, push, hold, elbow, illegal use of hands, hand check, and then the spot in where we will put the play in next. Sideline, end line, baseline, one of the 4 designated spots. Shooting 2 free throws, shooting bonus free throws, shooting 3 free throws because it was a shooting foul outside a 3-point arc. And then when you go report, don't go to the table. Stay inside that volleyball court. White, 32, moving forward into the dribbler. Green, 44, displacing opponent from the post. Blue, 12, hitting the shooter in the head. Notice how I said 32, not 3-2. 44, not 4-4. 12, not 1-2. Say the actual number because we need to be very clear, and this will avoid a book error mistake. All right, so how do we get better at this as we close out this training tape? Watch, observe, and copy other officials who you deem are great. Watch and observe officials that you think aren't so good. Don't do what they're doing. Find the great ones. Watch them, observe them, copy them. Watch a game on TV. NCAA women's, NCAA men's, Strive TV high school, WNBA, NBA basketball. Watch the officials, watch the game. You call the game standing in front of the television. And you are now going to be able to get instant feedback. Boom, I have a foul, push. Oh no, they didn't call a foul. Why? Boom. You're going to learn. All right, learn from the best. And when they do blow a foul, have that mechanic of what they're using match yours. Man, why do they call a block instead of a hand check? All right, we could go back and watch the game, all right, to learn, oh, that's why they called it a push instead of a hand check. All right, so literally stand in front of the TV and call the game, and you're going to get instant feedback. Are you matching up with the best in the nation? Stand in front of a mirror and report. Every time I walk by a mirror, as silly as it sounds, I do a mechanic. Football season, I do a football mechanic. Baseball season, I do baseball mechanic. Basketball season, I do basketball mechanic. And you may make fun of me, that's fine. But understand, every single bathroom, every single household has a mirror. Because when we leave that house, when we leave our apartment, when we leave wherever we're at, we want to make sure we look presentable. That's why we have to do it as an official. Practice your signals so they look presentable. Have someone record you, a mentor, a spouse, a friend. All right, ask somebody, hey, could you stay for 10 more minutes, just record me working the first 10 minutes of this next youth basketball games? I want to take a look at how I look for 10 minutes straight. Dead ball officiating, body language, signals, on and on and on. Watch that game film and communicate with others. Am I doing what I expect an official to do if I were a coach, if I were a player, if I were a fan? All right, because it's more about the communication than the judgment what is and what isn't a foul. All right, most of the time I don't know if I got fouls right or wrong until I get to the game film anyways, but I have to get through that game, that moment right now without that film. And it's through this communication of signals and mechanics that's going to help me with this. Thank you for taking time out with PSOA today. During our shorts, in January in our daily rules questions, we are going to concentrate on Rule 4, definitions. We are going to start this new year out correctly, basic foundations. We are going to hammer what is the definitions of basketball so we improve on consistency of what is legal and what is illegal. So after this training tape, take time, watch those daily shorts. Take time to do those daily rules questions. And come back next week as we continue to now look at those definitions with film in a real live game. Thank you for taking time out today with PSOA. Officials, remember, you're only as good as your last call.